Now the next one, you've actually watched. I've been dying to see it. Now I hear the highlight is Chris Pine's peen.
Yeah, he goes full frontal in this.
Yeah,
so
Outlaw King.
Yeah, the Outlaw King on Netflix. Now, you and I, we discussed it while we were gone this past weekend. I kind of thought it was a series. I know you said the same thing. It turns out it's a 2-hour-long movie about Robert the Bruce, who, if you're a fan of Braveheart,
one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yes, a fantastic movie. So this movie stars Chris Pine as Robert the Bruce. It takes place on the latter third of the Braveheart movie. So like this movie is happening succinctly kind of with the end of it. If you like Braveheart, you're going to love this movie. So at one point they show, and I don't want to spoil Braveheart for anyone, but I'm sure if you're listening to this podcast, you've seen Braveheart.
It's only over 20 years ago.
Yeah, so they draw and quarter him, and at one point you see William Wallace's head on a pike. You see the actual, a quarter of him makes into one section where Robert the Bruce is and all this kind of stuff. It is great, man. It is a pure. I don't know how Netflix is doing this because in we've talked in the past, the budget for this movie's got to be out of control, man. Like I don't know how many subscribers got to watch this to justify this, man, because it's got the armies that Steve always wants. It's got great battle sequences. Nothing looks obscure. I mean, it is a great look. It could have been released in theaters if you ask me. I don't know how Netflix pulled that one off. It's great. And so if you want that continuation of that William Wallace Braveheart story, you have to watch this because it just continues on, and it basically shows you how he picked up the pieces of the Scottish rebellion after William Wallace met his maker, and then what he was kind of doing behind the scenes, and then the fighting for the Scottish crown, and then how they were working with the English, but then they fought against the English. It's great. And Chris Pine's got an accent. It's not super distracting because I know a lot of people are like, I don't know if I want to know Chris Pine, doing his best broke accent or whatever. But it's a great movie. And if you have Netflix, it's a must-watch. It's about 2 hours, and it's great.
And how is the Little Pine?
Oh, well, I mean, it looked glorious, but I was a little...
Was it in 4K?
Yeah, it looked my usual. It was very high pixel density. It was great. But, I was a little shocked he did that because it's a mainstream actor, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, man. I was like, that's a whole lot of Chris Pine, man. I was like, that's pretty neat, but... he did it, and more power to him, and it's a great movie. He's got a love interest in it. And like he gets, married to some English royalty, and then that comes into play and stuff. And then they have to go into hiding, but she sticks by him and stuff. It's a great movie, man. It's 2 hours of your time that you need to put in if you got some Netflix. It's great.
Nice. Yeah, it looks good. Now, what I hear about Netflix does is these studios make these movies, and for whatever reason decide maybe they don't want to release it in theater. Or they put them up to auction, and that's when Netflix buys it.
That's impressive.
So that might, because like that last Cloverfield movie that was on Netflix, which was a pile of dung. That one with the space
Don't
station.
Associate these two movies.
Yeah, but they bought that, and what they did. So,
it's crazy. I don't know.
I know Bright, the one with Will Smith.
Yeah,
that one they paid for and had produced.
They were Netflix from jump of production and all this. So maybe this movie here was like you said. Maybe it was. We could do a full release. We could sell it to someone or something. Because, man, I'm telling you, production value on this is top notch, man. It's really good.
So there you go. Outlaw Kings, Netflix, Chris Pine, and you see Little Mr. Pine. So
yeah, dude, check on it, man. Make sure you pause it and rewind it through that sequence.
Now,